Wonka starring Timothy Chalamet is now out. Is it any good? Let's find out right now.
I'm making chocolate, of course. How do you like it? Dark, white, nutty, absolutely insane.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. As I said in the intro, today I'll be reviewing Wonka. Just got released in theaters. Before we get started, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. It's free to do so. We're on the road to 500 subscribers. Before we get started, I'm ready to do you guys a quick plot synopsis, just so you know what the movie is about. Armed with nothing but a hat full of dreams, young chocolatier Willy Wonka manages to change the world one delicious bite at a time. Alright, before we get started into the main review, I gotta say one plot point that I wasn't anticipating was a chocolate cartel being the movie. Like the three evil chocolate guys were trying to stop Willy Wonka from making chocolate. The chocolate cartel. I thought that's pretty funny. I was not expecting a chocolate cartel to be in the movie, but that's a pretty funny plot point to me. But, you know, when we talk about this movie, we got to talk about how, you know, people are going to compare Timothy Chalamet's Wonka to Gene Wilder's Wonka. And after seeing this movie, there are some comparisons to really draw to, from their mannerisms to, you know, some noticeable things that do happen in this movie, comparing it to, you know, the first Chocolate Factory movie. But I do think that these characters can stand on their own in a little bit. You know, we don't have to compare them just because, you know, I've heard rumbles that this is kind of like a prequel to the Gene Wilder movie, but some people have also said that it's its own movie. So I guess you can, you know, compare the two, but also just let them stand on their own as two different movies, two different characters, because, you know, there's a lot to love from each of them. Because, you know, Timothy Chalamet, he kind of knocked it out of the park. I know I wasn't expecting a lot from this movie because, you know, we went into this movie with some really interesting trailers. I would say trailers didn't sell it as a musical, but it is a musical. And Paul King did direct this movie, and we'll get to that in a minute. But Paul King is known for the Paddington movies, so I don't know why I was expecting a bad movie, but it's definitely not a bad movie. It's actually pretty good. I was very surprised by it. And as I said, the musical aspect of this was kind of hidden in the trailers. I don't know why they're doing that. They're kind of hiding it from the Mean Girls movie 2 coming out in January. At least The Color Purple, they're showing the musical aspect in that, because that's basically a full-blown musical. This is kind of like half musical, half you know, drama, kind of comedy story. And I don't know why they hit the music, because I think that's one of the best parts of this movie. You know, I thought the musical numbers were pretty magical. It had to be magical because this is a very magical movie, dealing with a lot of magical elements of chocolate and all that. And talking about chocolate, after I got out of this movie, all I wanted was some chocolate. So if you're going to go to the theater and go watch this one, which I do recommend, get some chocolate before you go into the movie. Just eat some chocolate while you're watching. I wish I did, because it just feels very fitting for this movie. But yeah, Timothy Chalamet can actually sing. He did pretty good. He's not like an excellent singer, probably because he needs a little bit more practice, but he did pretty good. He had a decent amount of songs in here. I thought everyone had a chance to sing. I thought everyone did a pretty good job. It's funny because this and The Color Purple released in the same month and from the same studio, and they're going to fight it out for who's the best musical of the year. Right now, as recording this, I haven't seen The Color Purple, but this one I liked a lot. So let's see if Color Purple really stands up to this movie. All right, and the cast, this movie is pretty stacked. There's a lot of great people in here. Timothy Chalamet as Wonka, as I said, he really, you know, knocked it out of the park for me. I wasn't really expecting a lot from him because we've only seen him in like kind of like drama movies, I would say. Call Me by Your Name, Bones and All, which he was great in that. Dune, he's great in that. Can't wait to see him in the second part. So we haven't really seen him in like a musical, a comedy movie. This is like a full-blown comedy, I'd say, and he does a great job. His character is not, you know, it's not serious. You know, it's not like Gene Wilder is kind of comedy, serious, and kind of like threatening in a way. This kind of version, a little, you know, a younger version of Wonka is more whimsical, and I would say happier in his life and just wanting to experience everything, you know, sell chocolate to everyone, make everyone happy, which I really did admire. I loved how Timothy Chalamet took this role, you know, made it his own. And Hugh Grant as the Oompa Loompa was hilarious. Hugh Grant, you know, I think he's a little problematic in his interviews, how he speaks about his movies, but I thought he did a great job here. He's a fantastic actor. Kayla Lane, who plays Noodle, kind of like the sidekick to Wonka, she did pretty great, because, you know, some of these smaller characters that play sidekicks to the main, you know, character in a movie, sometimes they can be pretty annoying, but I thought that her character was great. How we go with her character is pretty interesting. And I thought Keegan-Michael Key, I thought he was great. He wasn't as funny as I was expecting, but he does have a couple great laughs in here. And Olivia Colman is always great in whatever she's in, but her character, how she looked, was pretty scary. Her character was a little scary for me, but she was great. But Timothy Chalamet, I gotta say, he did a great job with playing Wonka. And now we gotta talk about Paul King's direction, because we gotta say, Paul King is a great director. I think this is his third major movie that he's ever made, and he shows it here with a much grander scale compared to his Paddington films, which, those Paddington movies are amazing. We're going to see the third one, I think, next year. Sadly, Paul King is not going to direct that one. I'm not sure what Paul King's next movie is after this, but just know I got to buy my ticket for that because Paul King is definitely worth it. Because, in the Paddington movies, they're small scale. This one, he's dealing with a lot more VFX. It's a musical element, bigger sets, bigger costume design, and all that. And I think he does a great job of fully realizing everything and making sure every character has enough screen time to really fit into a movie and to have everyone just like, everyone does something interesting in this movie. I will say, some of the weak parts for me was the writing a little bit. Some of the pacing was a bit off towards that second half, but I will say Paul King knew how to direct the movie. He did a great job. And he also knows how to bring out the joy in the audience. A lot of my audience was having a fun time. I was having a fun time. And, it's something he really lets you feel something in the movies that he makes, which I really admire. Because some directors, they don't have that skill where they can have you feel something while watching their movie. Feel happy, feel sad, and all that. And you can really feel for these characters in this movie because of Paul King's direction. And if you're having a bad day and you go into this movie, I feel like you can easily, there's a couple of scenes in here which really can just make you smile. A lot of very happy moments in this movie, which I really liked. And I can't end the review without talking about the design of this movie, because even from the trailers, I knew the production design and costume design were going to be great, but it's even better in the movie. I feel like there's a lot of different costumes in here, especially Timothée Chalamet's Wonka costume clearly stands out. Dark purple and all that. Love his costume here, but there's a lot of different costumes in here, a lot of different makeup going on in here, and the production design is great. I heard that there's a lot of real sets in here, which I did like. A lot of it looks pretty real, so I will say the production design, costume design, it really went across well with me. I liked everything that was going on with this movie, and I will say I just had a really great time with it. Paul King, he knows how to make you feel happy when watching his movies, so I cannot wait for his next movie. Timothée Chalamet did great as Wonka. Very surprised by him. I don't know why I was, because he's one of the greatest actors of our new generation. So Wonka, I really do recommend this one in the theaters. It's gonna be a great holiday movie. Just take your kids to it. Everyone, I feel like, can find a piece to enjoy from this big, chocolate world that he's created here. So Wonka, I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. Could go up on another watch. I'm planning to go watch it in a couple more days now. I'm very excited for this Christmas season. A lot of different movies to watch for a lot of different audiences, but I do recommend Wonka. Let me know down in the comments if you did go watch Wonka. But as I said, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 500 subscribers, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.